Oh, sure.
Okay, please call this meeting to order.
Thank you, Mayor. This meeting, the 5 p.m. council meeting is called to order. Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Dickinson is expected momentarily. Vice Mayor Talamantes. Here. Councilmember Pluckybaum. Councilmember Maple is expected momentarily, and Mayor Pro Tem Guerra is expected momentarily. Councilmember Jennings.
I'm here.
Councilmember Vang. Here. And Mayor McCarty.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Pluckybaum, can you lead us in the land acknowledgement and pledge?
Please rise if you're able. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Mayans, Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin Wintu peoples, and the people of Bolton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous peoples, history, contribution, and lives. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You said we have one or two? Just one?
This one.
Okay.
So, Mayor, you have the first presentation with Councilmember Jennings regards to the McClatchy flag football team recognition.
I do. Yes, it's with great excitement that we bring the Lady Lions here once again. They were here last year, a different sport, but two of the players on the football team were here last year when we acknowledged the girls basketball team for winning the section championship. And this year, we wanted to invite them and acknowledge their outstanding teamwork and leadership and basically success in girls' women's flag football. So for those of you that don't know, it's now an official high school sport in California. So it's been an official high school sport for 3 years, and McClatchy girls have been doing it for 2 years and just dominating every year. So in their second year doing flag football here, they were the best team in the city, claiming the CIF San Joaquin Section Division I championship. Congratulations. And just really putting flag football on the map. Some of you may know that it's now an Olympic sport. It'll be in the Summer Olympics this year and really gives young people a chance to play tackle football or flag, but more importantly, another varsity sport for our outstanding female athletes in high schools throughout California. So we're really proud of the Lions from District 7, right, Mr. Jennings?
Oh, yes.
District 7,
Absolutely.
the Heartland Park. And, you know, they are a team. And sometimes it's difficult to talk about a team and pointing one person out. But as I told the team just when I walked down there a second ago, I said, look, you're an amazing team. You won the section championships, but only one of you I saw in Sports Center. And that was Daisy right here. Daisy Throckmorton was able to go. She was able to represent female flag football players from across the country in the NFL Super Bowl week right down the street in Santa Clara. And they had flag football, as you know, is now the Pro Bowl game for the week. And they had a scrimmage beforehand where they had some high school girls scrimmaging with the best of the best. And she was able to show off her skills and throw, I believe, a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice. So that's kind of a big deal, Daisy. Yes. Yes. And Daisy, I saw a few months ago, was recognized as the 2025 California, not just San Joaquin, not Sacramento, not Sac City School District, the 2025 California Player of the Year for girls flag football by Max Preps. Congratulations. And we asked where she's going to go next, and she's also a really good basketball player, and they went to sections this year in basketball. But she doesn't have an answer for us, Coach Jennings, but maybe we can get it by the end of the night.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Daisy and the entire Lady Lions from McClatchy helped put Sacramento on the map, represented us well. We are very proud of you, and congratulations.
So Daisy may have thrown a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice, and that's something she'll remember forever, right? But she's going to also remember forever the 5 touchdown passes that she threw in the championship game, and all the wide receivers. Savannah Hill, where are you? You caught one of those touchdown passes. London Lee, where are you? Come on. You caught at least one of those touchdown passes. And then Maisie Keegan? Yeah. So did I forget anybody? Those were the 5? 2, 2, and 1, right? Okay, so that's good. I was thinking maybe a tight end or somebody caught one, but that's all right. The team finished with an incredible record of 24-5. You guys only lost 5 games that whole year? That deserves a big round of applause. And in case you want to know the score of that game, where they defeated the top-seeded West Park School 33-25. 33-25. Don't stop clapping now. Come on, 33-25. Right here on their home, right here at Consumnes River College, so right here in your home city. So it was an incredible opportunity to win that. I happen to be one person who knows exactly what it's like to win that. I'm going to let you all take a look at this ring so you can see what your championship ring should look like. I was a member of the 76, long before you were thought of. 1976 Super Bowl team with the Oakland Raiders. We only won 32-14. You guys outscored us. So congratulations on an incredible accomplishment. And just for a quick second, I do want to acknowledge the team. So I've said something about the quarterback, said something about the wide receivers. How about the people who blocked on the line to make sure that she could throw those 5 touchdown passes? Where are you guys? All my linemen, where are you? Where are you? What about all the people who played defense to make sure that they didn't score that last touchdown? Where are my defensive players? I know every once in a while you give the ball to a running back and they run instead of throwing it all the time, right? Where are my running backs? There we go.
Same one.
There we go. And my tight ends, I know somebody caught that one pass over the middle for 5 yards. Who was that? 6 yards. Maybe it was 6 yards.
They just said wide receivers.
Yeah, it's one of my wide receivers or a tight end, either one. But anyway, congratulations. Well deserved. You guys are coming home as champions. And that's something you'll remember for the rest of your life. Nobody can never take that away from you, right? And so I want you to carry that with pride, whether you get a pennant, whether you get a ring like that, whatever it is, it's something that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. So you can do the math. 1976 to now, how many years have I had this ring? You do the math. But anyway, congratulations. Big round of applause. One more time. And the last person I want to acknowledge is Coach Avery. Where is he? And all of your coaching staff. I just really want to acknowledge you, because without your leadership, sometimes we as players get lost. And it's your leadership that brings us back home and gets us moving in the right direction and doing the things that it takes in order to win. It's not only the leadership on the day of the game, it's the leadership every single day at practice, right, on and off the field of play. And so I just really acknowledge you and your greatness and your other coaches that work with each one of them. And I want them to give their coaches and their parents a big round of applause. What you got, Mayor?
Let's do a resolution down
Let's
there.
do it.
Yes. Come on up, you guys.
I have some phones.
Go Lions, right? Let's go Lions. Oh, can we just do one more step in towards each other? A little shuffle. Okay. Big smiles. Right here. 3, 2, 1. And then can I get a Go Lions? 3, 2, 1. Go Lions! Awesome, thank you.
Just right there, it's fine. Just right there.
All right, yeah, all right, give it up. Woo!
What we giving up? What we giving up?
Let's go, McClatchy flag football team. Follow Mayor McCarty. Love it.
Like, I got a great idea. We can take pictures.
Okay, so moving along, do we have any closed session report out, City Attorney? No? Okay, wonderful. So discussion calendar, item number 1 is a 2025 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. And for that, we have Ms. Greta and Mr. Mendoza coming up to present to us.
I feel like clapping. Because we've been doing it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Greta Seuss. I'm a senior planner in our community development department. I'm here tonight to present the city's 2025 Housing Element Annual Progress Report. I'll later be joined by the city housing manager, Yayan Isle, later in the presentation. So every April, the city is required to submit a Housing Element Annual Progress Report to the state for the prior calendar year. The report provides housing production numbers and status updates on the city's adopted housing element implementation programs. The 2021 to 2029 housing element planning period housing target is 45,580 housing units. These units are broken down by income level from extremely and very low income housing to above moderate income housing. And this housing target assigned to the city by the state is known as the Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA for short. When we break down that housing target over the 8-year period, we must produce about 5,700 units annually across all income levels. And in 2025, the city produced a total of 2,737 housing units. This represents almost a 15% increase from 2024 production levels. In 2025, the city produced 930 deed-restricted units affordable to extremely low, very low, low, and moderate income households, accounting for 34% of our total production. This chart shows the number of housing units produced in 2025 by income level compared to the city's RHNA targets averaged over the 8-year planning period. While we produced only about 48% of our annual housing production target, we did see housing produced across all income levels. This graph shows our current progress towards our total RHNA. The top bar shows the total RHNA allocation in orange of 45,580 and our total progress to date in dark blue. The bars below that show the RHNA allocation and our progress broken out by income level. As of the 2025 reporting year, we're currently 5 out of 8 years through our planning period, so about 62% of the way. And as of 2025, the city's made progress towards completing 29% of its total regional housing needs allocation target. This chart shows the number of units produced by income level and includes the breakdown between deed-restricted affordable housing and non-deed-restricted affordable housing. And the deed-restricted affordable housing projects contributing to the 2025 numbers are listed here. These projects help expand the supply of long-term affordable housing across the city. And later on in this presentation, you'll hear from our city housing manager about some of these projects in more detail. While deed-restricted unit production is critical to ensure long-term affordable housing in our community, we know that we cannot meet our lower-income RHNA with deed-restricted units alone, given current funding availability. To meet our lower-income housing need through only regulated affordable housing, we would need to secure at least $10 billion over the planning period, with the City of Sacramento's portion being about $2 billion. So in order for us to meet this tremendous need for lower-cost housing, we must build more regulated affordable housing, but we must also build more lower-cost housing that does not require subsidies, such as through more affordably designed and deployed housing and construction methods, creative financing tools, and housing types like accessory dwelling units. Speaking of which, this graph shows our accessory dwelling unit production in Sacramento since 2013. ADUs have been an increasingly important source of smaller scale housing production. In 2025, the city issued 390 ADU building permits, continuing the strong growth trend we've seen in recent years. Since adoption of the housing element in 2021, the city has already produced well over 1,000 ADUs, surpassing the original housing element target of 600 ADUs during the planning period. Our shelf-ready ADU plans also continue to see interest from homeowners and small builders. As of January of this year, 31 ADUs have been constructed and 21 permits have been issued using these free shelf-ready ADU plans. When comparing housing production across California, Sacramento continues to lead the way. Of the top 6 housing-producing cities in the state from 2020 through 2024, Sacramento produced the most units per capita. When we look at rental rates in Sacramento, the average rent is currently about $1,900, which is affordable rent for lower income households making about 80% of the area median income. It's also much lower than the statewide average rent of almost $2,700. And when we look at home sale prices in Sacramento, the home values average about $470,000, which is not affordable to a lower income household of 3, but is affordable to a moderate income household making 120% of the area median income. It's also much lower than the statewide average of $765,000. So moving on to some implementation program updates. This chart shows our progress that
Greta,
we've
we're
made.
going to pause you for a second. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Yeah, sorry, Red. Go back a couple slides. I just want to understand the year-over-year change. This is what you're saying, and I know you're moving. Thank you for moving judiciously, but for both of this slide and the next one, the year-over-year change was a decline.
Yes.
That's so then a decline in rent and a decline in home sale prices. Okay.
Yes, that is what is available on Zillow. Moving on to our implementation program updates. This chart shows our 49 implementation programs and the progress that we've made on those. So the programs were assigned in different implementation timeframes, including short-term, medium-term, long-term, and ongoing. And to date, about 37% of our programs are complete, 37% are ongoing, 16% are currently in progress, and about 10% have not yet started. So we're continuing to make steady progress on these implementation programs. In 2025, the city advanced several housing policy initiatives, including updating our Universal Design Ordinance, launching a housing development toolkit map, piloting a small developer incubator program, submitting our pro-housing designation renewal application, adopting an ordinance implementing SB 684, and completing our review of the mixed income housing ordinance. The photos shown here are from recent small developer incubator events, which provide training, networking, and resources for small-scale housing developers. Looking ahead to 2026, the city plans to advance several additional housing initiatives, including bringing forward an ordinance to allow cottages on wheels in backyards, conducting outreach to increase awareness of our city's Universal Design Ordinance. We'll be looking to adopt an ordinance allowing the sale of ADUs as condos through state legislation AB 1033. We'll be reviewing and updating our condo conversion ordinance to make it more feasible to convert existing market rate housing to condominiums to increase homeownership opportunities, and then continued small developer incubator programming, and we'll also be conducting a citywide ADU survey. I'll now pass it to the City Housing Manager, Yayan Isle, to provide an overview of several recent and ongoing housing projects in the city.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Yayan Isle. I'm with the City Manager's Office of Innovation and Economic Development. And I'm here tonight to provide an overview on projects that the city has recently funded. Once upon a time, there was city funding for housing projects dating back to 2000, most recently up until October of 2022, when the council made direct funding investments into several housing projects. About $25.2 million completed 664 units recently. I'm going to touch on a couple of the ones that were completed this last year. And there's investments of $43 million for almost 1,300 units that are in the pipeline in various stages of development. Before I get into the projects, I wanted to acknowledge the partnership and the work of SHRA, and Christine Weichert and Chris Warren are both here today with us, and CADA, two agencies that also finance and support housing development in the city, and with SHRA being the primary financer of affordable housing projects in the city. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the city staff who helped bring all of these projects to fruition, including Leslie Fritchie and Axel Magianis in OIED, as well as all of the staff at planning, building, public works, real estate, DOU, police, fire, all the staff and departments who entitle and permit projects. It's truly a team effort to get these projects over the finish line. The city of Sacramento, we are very proud to be the very first pro-housing designated city in the state. And I want to thank all of you for continuing to champion housing projects of all levels in your districts, including supporting creating streamlined processes for housing development. While SHRA receives and administers the city's Housing Trust Fund, federal entitlement, and state funding for housing, the following projects are those that the city has directly invested in, sometimes in partnership with CADA and SHRA, and sometimes as standalone investments. The funds that the city has had access to fund projects in the past include Measure U, General Fund, Risk Management Fund, Redevelopment Funds, Innovation and Growth Funds, Comprehensive Siting Plan Funds, as well as the Homeless Housing Assistance Prevention Program funding. All right, so with that intro, these are just highlights of recently completed projects. I wanted to focus on a couple projects that were completed in 2025 and 2026. The Joshua's House project began receiving referrals in August of 2025, mostly from our major health systems, and everything is going very well at the project. The Roadway Inn, which is now known as Powell's Landing, was a motel conversion project that was primarily funded by Home Key, with SHRA as the primary financer. The city contributed funding to help support 70 units of permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness, as well as with behavioral health. The Kind South project is a project where the city was the primary financer. We provided an $8.4 million loan to this project with ARPA and Measure U. This project was recently completed at the beginning of 2026. They are in the lease-up process. This project was targeted to serve people at the 80% AMI. However, I will note that when this project was envisioned, it was originally envisioned to be able to house people with vouchers, and due to our shortfall situation and the lack of vouchers, they are currently about 27% filled and have reduced their rent down to $12.50 to help fill the project. The total project cost on that project was $22.3 million, and they were able to come in at a much lower price per unit due to the simplified financing and the workforce. These next projects I'm going to highlight are currently under construction and nearing completion. The Bridge Housing Project is anticipated to be completed this spring, with move-ins potentially beginning in mid-May. It is a mix of 1 and 3 bedroom units, so it'll serve the opportunity to serve families as well as singles. And this project was funded with a source called the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Project Fund, which I will get into a little bit more. The city contributed properties as well as HAP and ARPA funding to bring this project to fruition. The San Juan Apartments, the first of 2 phases, construction is nearing completion. They are also looking to start lease-ups in May of this year. This project is unique in that it is a partnership between the city and the county. A portion of this site is within the city limits, and a portion of the site is within the county. Once this project is completed, Mutual Housing is looking to bring on a second phase of 70 additional units. All of those units are on the county side of the property. And then lastly, 13th and C Street, the city provided a $3 million loan to help bring 127 units of workforce housing to the Central City here at 13th and C Street, and that project is well under construction. I wanted to pause here for a moment and go back to one of the slides that Greta had shown previously about the cost of housing per unit, right, of the average of about $600,000 per unit. And I often get asked, why is it so expensive to build affordable housing? Why is it costing $600,000 a unit? You know, you can go buy a bunch of houses for that. And, you know, we've had a lot of conversations with our development community, and I think it's important to highlight that with affordable housing, you bake in the rental subsidy, right? So the door still costs $100 no matter who's buying the door and who's living there with the door. But when you have people coming in at 30% AMI, 50% AMI, 60% AMI, they can't afford that $100 door. And so part of the financing package to bring these projects to fruition to be affordable for 55 years includes funding to be able to subsidize that rent for the long term. And so that's why you see as projects have more affordability, especially projects that are going with the 30% AMI, you start to see the cost per unit rise. Prevailing wage is another contributor to the higher costs. A lot of these projects require a variety of state, sometimes federal funding sources that require prevailing wage. And also there's the cost of services and staffing, including property management. Affordable housing projects typically require a higher ratio of staff and a higher level of service to ensure resident success. So those are, just a few kind of highlights as to, when you look at these numbers and, these are extremely expensive projects at very high costs, but they are also meant to keep the units affordable for a long period of time. All right, the next projects I wanted to highlight are these additional projects that are under construction. The Gateway East and West project is a transformative housing development on Stockton Boulevard corridor. If you haven't been down Stockton Boulevard, just south of Broadway lately, I think you'll be surprised if you drive down and see these 2 projects coming online. One on the west side and one on the east side of Stockton Boulevard at about 9th and 10th Avenues. These are going to be studio and 1 and 2 bedroom units. This project is also unique in the fact that the city loaned our risk management fund to bring these projects to fruition. They are at a mix of affordability with on the west side or on the east side a little bit lower, 80 to 60% AMI, and on the west side 80 to 120. The Monarch project is a project in partnership with CADA, the Capital Area Development Authority. It is under construction. They're framing the project. They're working on the roof. They are on schedule to be completed in the summer of 2027. The Donner Field project, we were recently at a groundbreaking event for this project with Eden Housing. They started construction in November of 2025. And they are anticipating completion in May of 2027. This is a senior project, a senior affordable housing project, which will also include 17 units of permanent supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness. These next projects are projects that we have are pending or in the pipeline that city staff have been working on. 2 of these are on city surplus lands. The Russell and Truxell apartment project, also known as Fong Ranch Road properties, have been going through the entitlement process. The city council amended the purchase and sale agreement back early last year, and it is now going to be a project that includes a single apartment complex of 119 multifamily units surrounded by approximately 100 single-family lots that will eventually be sold to a single-family developer for sort of affordable by design, first-time home buyer type housing. They are going through the city's approval process, hope to have a final map submitted later this June. And for the affordable housing piece, they are going through their financing stage, applying for application, looking to submit for tax credits. They anticipate starting some rough grading this fall, and the street paving and the sound wall, they are hoping to have completed by August of 2027. 1900 Club Center Drive is another city surplus property that the council approved an exclusive right to negotiate agreement with the developer, EAH Housing. They are developers continuing community outreach efforts, particularly to engage potential residents and neighbors of this site who might use the community space that they are including as part of the property. And they are working on updating their plans and will continue to move forward on the process. Lastly, Step Up on Fruit Ridge. This is a property that the city provided funding for the acquisition of the site here. And it is a partnership with Step Up on Second, and it is proposed for 100 units of permanent supportive housing. I will say that this project is somewhat a little bit stuck at this phase, but we continue to have conversations with the developer to look at financing options, potential partnerships with potential financiers to bring this project on board. One of our local architects, Ron Verlakis, is involved in this project, and he has looked at creating a very cost-effective model of bringing apartments into Sacramento. I mentioned AHSC, the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Community Funds. These projects may not necessarily have city directed investment into these projects, but as part of the AHSC application, there is a public works component, usually pedestrian and bikeway improvement, as well as regional transit. And I wanted to highlight a couple of projects that have recently been funded and awarded with AHSC. On Broadway is fully occupied, and they are currently engaging with a potential commercial tenant and hope to have them signed on in the coming months. They're looking to host a grand opening event, likely in a couple of months, as they get their project ready. There were bike and pedestrian improvements on 34th Street and 2nd Avenue as part of the grant application. The Sakura project is another partnership with Mutual Housing in CADA. That one is under construction. They are on schedule for completion in the spring of 2027. The City Public Works project for this one included funding for the S Street Mobility Project, new bike lanes, and dedicated paths between 5th and 21st Streets. The Clover Apartments and the I Street Apartments were two projects that were awarded AHSC in this last round, last December. The Clover Apartments in the South area was awarded $50 million of AHSC. $35 million of that is for the housing development, with 12.7 for transportation infrastructure improvements. Those are typically with RT and the city, and an additional 1.8 for programming. They are applying for tax-exempt bonds and tax credits currently, and they are anticipating to hear later this year. With that funding secured, they hope to be able to complete their building permit process and begin construction by late 2026. The Public Works project that was funded with this is the Meadowview Neighborhood Connections Project, so traffic calming elements, class 3 bikeways, reconstructed curb ramps to create safe and accessible walkway for pedestrians. They are right by a light rail transit station. And then lastly, the I Street Apartments, just a few blocks here behind the Memorial Theater, is a new project that was approved at $71.6 million. And they are also submitting for tax credits this spring. And if all proceeds as expected, they anticipate a construction start date in February of 2027. We also are currently working with projects for this next round of AHSC. Applications are due this May. We anticipate bringing a staff report back to council in April of, in just a couple of weeks here, to bring forward three, right now it's looking about 3 projects in the city for AHSC. So those will be coming forward in the next few months. All right, so some of the things that the city is doing to innovate and look at other ways of how we can bring housing, much needed housing, particularly for people experiencing homelessness, include taking advantage of the recently released State Home Key Plus project. In partnership with DCR, the city submitted 2 funding applications last May and June for the State Home Key Plus funds. We are currently actively working with the state on the Rio Linda Senior Housing Project, which will be 100 units of permanent supportive housing for seniors and senior veterans. And we hope that we are getting close to a potential award. And then we are then looking at our Mac Road housing project. We are still waiting on review and comments from HCD, the state agency reviewing these projects. This project would bring 120 units of permanent supportive housing for families and adults. And I will note, it says District 8, but it is technically in District 5, right on the border between 5 and 8. A couple of other potential projects that we're looking at. I work closely with Rich Sanders in real estate on city properties. The Colfax site in District 2, we've had some preliminary conversations with a housing developer, and they are evaluating the environmental contamination on the site, and it has the potential we're hoping we can maybe bring forward an exclusive right to negotiate agreement in 2026. This project has been declared surplus. It's gone through the notice of availability process. So at this point, any housing development that comes to this site, the Surplus Land Act requires that 15% of it be set aside for affordable housing if 10 or more units are constructed. On Patio in Northgate, we're also very excited to be exploring a housing development opportunity with a developer. They are currently evaluating the site and development standards to bring forward a project here. This project has been declared surplus, but notice of availability has not yet been issued. That would need to happen before we enter into an exclusive right to negotiate agreement. And we have a couple of options for how we move forward, but we are excited to hopefully bring something forward on this site in 2026. Lastly, I wanted to end, I would be remiss if I did not take advantage of this opportunity to highlight 2 properties that the city actively is trying to sell. These are former redevelopment agency, successor agency properties that we inherited with the dissolution of redevelopment. One of them is at Norwood and Silver Eagle by the Del Paso Nuevo project that we are currently listing. It is a almost 4-acre opportunity, and you can see it's by a park as well as a lot of residential. And then the second site that we are currently listing is the Lexington and Dixie Ann site. This one is right by the Swanston Light Rail Station. That street there on the right is Selma, and that dead ends into the Swanston Light Rail Station, which we've had some conversations with SAC RT about potential future opportunities for development at that light rail station as well. This property is priced pretty low. It's priced to move, and we continue to have both of these properties listed with Colliers, and we're actively receiving and reviewing offers of purchase. So we hope that we will be able to bring projects forward on both of these sites in the coming year. And so that concludes my presentation. Greta and I are available for any questions. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor, I have one speaker, Celia Yanez.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, new city manager. Celia Yanez, District 4. Just a little bit of background. I'm retired, 30 years of public service, about 10 here with the city of Sacramento in the planning department and 20 with the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. I just wanted to give kudos to city staff on pushing on the housing element and all that it takes. I was here in the early 90s when some of the early thought of making our street residential. That was out of the box, and it was a hard slug. And SHRA and the city came together and did the Central City Housing Strategy. Probably none of you have ever heard of that, which is fine. But just to say that it took leadership not only from the dais, but leadership at staff level. And so we had leaders all throughout, and we had staff, and we all worked really hard to get that done. So it's been years, built upon years of doing it. So I look forward to Tom and his retirement, and kudos to him for continuing to push for innovation and supporting his staff, and to see what the future holds for the new leadership. And just to say, I know what it takes, that it takes a long time. 3 of those projects that were up there, San Juan, oh shoot, no, I'm forgetting. Donnerfield, taking years off of my life, and the Gateway Project. I worked on all those, and Yayin and I worked on the Gateway Project. So as much as I have to say, I get really upset when people go, why does it take so much? Why does it take so much money? As Yayin said, it takes a lot to build it, and then the upfront subsidy to make sure that for 30 years that it's affordable housing. And people need to understand that, and I get a little peeved when people come up to me and say,
Thank you for your comments, Mayor. That concludes the public comment for this agenda item.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Wow, was that teed up appropriately? I want to first thank off Celia Niguez because, I think there was a council member, McCarty at that time, who appointed me to the 65th Street RAC and the Redevelopment Advisory Committee, and Celia was the staffer at that, and so so that was like you hit it right on the mark about dedication at every level, the community level, the staff level. It does take a lot of time because we're trying to do it right, and as we saw in all of those areas, they were not greenfield development. It was all development in areas that was infill, which means it had a lot of challenges, infrastructure challenges, cleanup challenges, built out neighborhood issues, transportation issues. There's a lot going on in there. So first of all, let me just say thank you, Celia, for your years of service and for your retirement. Actually, I'd like to give her a big round of applause for her years of her service, in that. I punched up to speak to basically thank the staff on this because that is what kind of motivated me to get involved on housing issues, was figuring out how we provide infill and change the dynamics. Just seeing what it was like when I moved to Sacramento and as a student at Sac State. But I want to highlight a couple things. Greta, if you don't mind putting up that slide on the diversity of housing, and it was like the bar chart. And also, I wanted to make sure that we didn't gloss over something important, that actually we stabilized rents and they reduced. Obviously, not by as much as people are feeling based on inflation and the cost of gas and food that are outside of our control, but rent costs have stabilized and gone down. The average home sale costs in the overall market have stabilized and in certain areas gone down. But I think this slide is very important for members of the council because when you look at the policies that we had before, you had above market rate as almost the grand preponderance of everything we were building. Not everybody can start off in a 4-bedroom house, 2.5 bathrooms, 3-car garage type of a home. But that's all we were building with a small amount of those in need. And while we took a big hit during the housing crisis, what we've actually done has actually produced a policy that has created more of a rainbow effect, let's put it that way, in this, where we have more options for folks, because everyone is coming at a different price point. They're coming at a different need in life. They're transitioning out of, say, if they're retiring, they're trying to find a home that fits their need at that point in their life. And that's what our housing stocks has to look like. It has to look like the diversity of the housing needs in our community from every level, from the young adult who is looking for a place, to the family that's starting out, to even a retired homeowner who is looking to downsize. So I want to highlight that piece there. It shows that our staff has thought through, and in our housing policy, of how do we look at a diverse set of policy of the type of housing. We built a project, Manisero Court, off of 65th Street. These are folks who wanted to live who worked at the medical center, who were looking for a bigger house, but didn't really have the time or energy or patience to want a yard. They just said, hey, I need the house, I don't really need the yard. It was a product. There are folks who want a traditional suburban home. Yes, and we have that. But we also have a different need of homes. We also pushed for, like in the Mercy Housing Project, a need. We got to a point where we needed more housing for families. That means 3-bedroom multifamily housing units. So that was one project. I want to go back to the point about Gateway, Donner Field, San Juan, and Mercy. All of this was to look at how our commercial corridors were failing, okay? So this is a big message. In 2014, 2015, our commercial corridors were failing, and because of it, the entire economy had changed, online sales had changed, and so the thought process of creating the Stockton Boulevard plan and looking at these vacant lots, I reached out to Councilmember Chenier at that time and asked SHRA, give us the assessment of all these vacant lots, and then pushed on the developer saying, you can't just build one side, you got to build both sides, the Gateway project. That allowed us to be able to do, now we couldn't execute Donner Field at the same time, so that came on its own. And at the same time, we found the issues that we were facing with the county and the city, basically not wanting to deal with the problem vacant lot. But San Juan Motel is an example of when we do pull together. That one was not even more complicated. It was not only city, county, but a redevelopment successor agency in the middle of it. So we had to get state legislation for that. Thank you, Assembly Member or Council Mayor, for voting for that as it got through the other side as well. But to that point, I want to say I'm very excited about where we are today, because if you look down Stockton Boulevard, what was a place where people were trying to flee at that point, closing shop. Now there's people investing in there. There's housing. There's energy. There's an interest in how we revive our colonial theater and make it a more exciting place for folks there. So that message, I think, we want to take to everywhere, part of the city. Marysville Boulevard, we passed the Marysville Boulevard plan. Franklin Boulevard, we're moving forward on the complete streets, and then the work over by Fruit Ridge and Franklin. Del Paso Boulevard, this is where we I think are starting there. It's fits and starts, but I think there's more work to do. I think focusing on investments in our infrastructure costs to help those commercial corridors actually be viable, because they are challenging. If we're going to build where there is transportation or transit, we have to, I think, focus on that. And we're going to meet our RENA numbers responsibly. Okay, if we're going to meet RENA numbers responsibly, I want to just leave the message that we have to focus on those commercial corridors. I like the idea. I just want to end with a note that I like the idea of the cottages on wheels. It's not a new idea. We called them mobile homes when I was growing up, But they're smaller, and they fit in driveways that fit in areas where we can move in. I mean, places like Robla or even parts of Fruit Ridge Manor that have bigger lots. Hey, you can move in a cottage on wheels, but it's a mobile home. You can take the wheels off and put them on stilts. So I think those are exciting innovation projects to explore. I just want to close off again by thanking staff for this. It's exciting that we're outbeating our competitors. I mean, Greta, can you go back to that slide where Sacramento's on the top list? Doesn't mean that we don't have more work to do. We have definitely a lot more work to do. But this shows that those cities have a lot more resources. They have a lot more staff. Like, I mean, let's put it that way. They have an enormous amount of more staff, but we're actually outperforming them. More work to do, and just to say congratulations. And we need to focus on infrastructure costs to improve commercial corridor revitalization. Those are all throughout all our city, and we can build the housing we need if we focus on that issue. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Mayor. Given my colleagues' very thorough comments, I have nothing additional to add other because he said everything I wanted to say. And so I'm going to do a very rare thing and say thank you. And that will be it.
Thank you. Thank you. Assembly. Yes. You're the Scott Wiener of the City Council in Sacramento. You are. Okay, I'll say that later. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks. I wasn't prepared for that. Settling in for a little dissertation and didn't expect that. So I want to join the others in thanking the staff for its work and this presentation. And it is good to see that we're doing better than some other much larger jurisdictions. But I think we also have to acknowledge we're nowhere close to meeting our RENA numbers. And we're not alone, obviously. This is the position jurisdictions across the state are finding themselves in. I suppose this is going to be the subject of some discussion at the state level about how they approach RENA compliance, meeting targets given what's going on around the state. But what I think we ought to be measuring ourselves against is actually not how other jurisdictions are doing, but how we're doing against our RENA goal. And recognizing that, I think, as Greta said, we're at 62% of the way through the time and 29 or so % of the number needed. Our focus, it seems to me, needs to be on how do we at least catch up to some degree in the remaining time we've got, which isn't long in real terms. I mean, it takes. I mean, just as you go through those projects and you talk about how long the gestation and Salia, you worked on some of these projects 30 years ago. Is that? I know we worked on a lot of projects together. So things don't change quickly. Obviously, it takes a long time to generate, let alone complete projects. But that's where we have to be focused. I think in what we can do to accelerate the pace of housing that's being provided across the spectrum. I mean, it's not just one category or another. Although it is also encouraging to see some production in all the categories as well. So that's my general observation. Looking at how we've done with production on a more granular level. I was struck by, and I appreciate all the detail, by the way, on all the efforts that are going on related to housing. I was struck by the rental packets that got sent out and how many got returned. And that was roughly 7,500 that got sent out and 5,200 that got returned. I don't know if anybody can speak to that. But that made me wonder, what are we doing? So,
Is that for the city's rental inspection program that you're referring to?
You know, I don't, because it's such a long list, I don't have it right in front of me,
Okay.
Ian, but.
It is on the presentation tonight?
Yeah, well, it's in the, no, not in the, it wasn't presented, it was in the material that was attached to the staff report. And it was in the vicinity of talking about the rental assistance efforts too. Let's see here. I I couldn't bookmark it, so I'm not sure. So that's something, okay, maybe that's just something to follow up on. There's also some discussion of rental assistance, and it was connected to the street to housing program in the material we got, and that to a certain extent caused me to question the street to housing program. I didn't really think of it as a rental assistance program, although obviously we're paying rent for those who are getting housed, so I suppose in that sense it is. But I think about rental assistance as helping people stay in housing. And so I'm curious about whether there's an opportunity in thinking about how we're looking at this, not from the agency's point of view, SHRA, but from the city's point of view, whether there's more that can be done, or whether there are even resources to do more with respect to rental assistance for those who are housed but at risk of losing their housing, of becoming homeless, and whether you even see that as part of the elements that you're concerned with thinking about, or within the scope of what you're trying to do in terms of presenting to us tonight.
I don't think I can speak as much to rental housing assistance. Are you asking generally about what more we can do?
Well, in the material we got, the rental assistance is mentioned, but only in connection with the street to housing program. And that made me wonder whether you're thinking about it on a broader basis of how do we keep people in housing who are at risk of losing their housing, or is that beyond the scope of what you are thinking about when you've given us the material tonight that's been shared with us?
I think we just haven't been able to identify additional funds. I mean, there's the Stockton Boulevard. We had some funds for anti-displacement measures that I know provided one-time funds for like emergency assistance for like home repairs or like, one-time bill payments. I'm aware of that, but I'm not aware of other funds that we've had available for.
You had the emergency repair program. That's really an SHRA program, was referred to, and so part of what I was trying to figure out is what did you see as the scope of what you were giving us tonight, and what was really beyond that scope, because it seemed to cross over to a certain extent into what we usually associate with SHRA, and so it made me wonder whether you all were thinking, okay, we need to be involved in this from the city side, not just the agency side. Was that any part of this?
Yeah, I think when we developed this program, research options for rental assistance. So just wanting to find ways to support rental assistance. I think the encampment resolution fund grant for the street to housing model just kind of fit under that. We took advantage of that, Yayan's team, and so we put that under here, but we haven't had other examples outside of the Stockton Boulevard anti-displacement project. That was I think city funds outside of SHRA that provided rental assistance in the Stockton Boulevard area as part of the Aggie Square project. So that was a separate city program as well.
What was the source of funds for that?
I think Yayan would be able to speak to that.
Yes, so that project was as part of the Aggie Square settlement agreement. The city received funding to do housing stabilization work, and so we put out programs for rent, first-time home buyer, home repair, and homelessness prevention were the three main programs that we are funding with that funding.
So that ended up being general fund money?
I believe so. I don't recall the exact source of that funding. I know it was part of the negotiation with Aggie Square.
Yeah, I'm aware of this the settlement that was reached. I didn't know the source of funding, but I don't know what else it would have been other than general fund.
Yeah, we can look into that, and I can get back to you.
But that was one time, one place.
Correct.
Okay. So I would encourage thinking more about rental assistance. This is my little drumbeat about prevention in the world of homelessness, and I appreciated seeing some reference to it, and so I thought, okay, maybe you all are thinking about this as a more robust component of what we do with respect to addressing housing, but I would just encourage that to a greater extent if possible. And I think it was the tenant. I think the mail out, the packets were in connection with the Tenant Protection Act efforts.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the packets were returned, but I can certainly reach out to code and understand that and get back to you about it.
Oh, that'd be fine. I mean, it obviously raises questions about who are we sending them to, if we're sending the right people, if we're not, why aren't we, if we're spending a lot of money on this and not getting much because they all get returned, are we changing what we're doing? Yeah, if you can follow up with me on that, Greta, and the council members, that would be great. Thank you for the presentation again, and I think this is a very important check-in because housing is so crucial to everything else we want to accomplish, and I think the Mayor Pro Tem was on point in talking about the fact that you have to have the complete spectrum of housing. And most of us, if we've lived long enough, and some of us have gone through the sequence of how you progress. Many of us, once we get to the point where we're responsible for our own housing, are in an apartment. And then when we're lucky enough to have a house, we're in a small house. And then maybe as family circumstances change or economy change, it's a bigger house. And then maybe as you get old enough, then you go back to a smaller house or even a condominium or something of that kind. And if you don't have all those things, we can't accommodate everybody in the marketplace as we want to and need to in the community. So I appreciate the look across the spectrum in terms of what you presented to us as well. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yayan, just a couple of questions, because in my district, Ascent opened, which is a deed-restricted affordable, but it wasn't on the list.
Yes.
So can you explain that to me?
Yes. I was, there are a lot of other housing projects being built, affordable housing projects. I was looking to highlight the projects that the city made a direct investment in. The Ascent project was able to pull together their financing without a subsidy from the city, which is great. We need all of those projects as well because our money can only go so far. I did not have a comprehensive list of all the affordable housing projects that are under development in the city, and Ascent is certainly one that is in North Natomas, but it did not have city investment, so that's why I did not include it on my list.
So, question though, if we've got a bunch of development that is showing, they're creating some deed restricted, does that go towards our RENA goals?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that was one thing that wasn't fully made clear. And then I'd like to see, what are we learning? Because the affordable housing built in North Natomas, done without city resources, was done at about $400,000 a door. And we talk about the cost of affordable housing and how expensive is it. Are we pulling in developers that we know that we're losing money and there's limited funding, but we know we need more affordability? What are we doing when we don't have that gap financing of working with the developers, and how are they doing that? Because I was able to negotiate that they still have the same amount of hours and services and accountability as if SHRA was overseeing them. And then in looking at a lot of where you look at the program language, very detailed, a lot of good stuff if we, would be amazing if we could implement, but I want to highlight a couple that I think we really need to concentrate on that I think could help us, is we've got older hotels, motels, that some owners are looking at, and how can that be used as a conversion into a condominium? because that could be also another way for sale. And I know there are a couple in Sacramento that are looking at doing that. And I saw H35, the ordinance. We're still working on it. So that's something while we're working on it, is it preventing, something like this moving forward? We've also got like our older apartments. Could those potentially be something that converts into condominiums, which is another source of home ownership, and addressing like the missing middle that we're looking at? And then at the same time, your program H47 is preserving the existing supply of affordable housing. When deed restriction is coming up and that affordable housing is no longer going to be, what are we doing to keep that supply, and how are we partnering? Because a lot of this, and the largest landlord is SHRA. And how are we partnering and addressing that? And do we have policies that are maybe we need to streamline and look that set the stage so that we know when there's like 5 years left, what are we doing that, and what's the trigger, and how do we look at that? Those are just, a couple of things that I think we need to look at, because it is about the diversity of supply. And what we're doing. But this is a great report. Thank you. And I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Just a quick question. Obviously, we have a growing senior population here in this country, in just Sacramento. And then we have a lot of young college students that can't afford the high rents. Have we considered a roommate rental program through the city of Sacramento, through SHRA, or just through any of our government agencies? Because I feel like that would be like the cheapest, most cost-effective way of partnering people. Also, like with depression and people feeling lonely, having a companion in the house. If you have a senior that's living alone with 2 extra bedrooms, having a young college student there could be helpful. And then that puts another house in our affordable housing that's already built. So we're not paying much, we're just being a landlord helping that relationship.
I can't remember the name of the program, but one of our transitional age youth providers, it might have been the LGBT Center, did have a program at one point where it wasn't like a foster home, but it was a program where they were providing some assistance to allow transitional age youth to move in and use one of those rooms. I can find out more information about that program. It's been a long time. It's been a couple years since I've recall it, but I do remember something like that. But I think that, that is something that can be looked into, right? Because those are units that are existing that could be taken advantage of. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like cost.
I was just going to say, back in probably like 2019, we spoke to Sacramento State. They had a program that they were matching students with seniors, but you have to go through their services department if. They don't widely distribute it, basically, but I can take a look at it and see if I can find if that's still happening.
I see Christine here with SHRA. Christine, do you want to come up, or do you know if you guys have any programs? I mean, I'm thinking about housing goals here, and we're talking about the cost of how much it costs to open up, $400,000, $500,000. These are homes that are already built, people that need roommates.
Yeah, we've had over the years some projects we have financed in the past where, a unit is taken and maybe individuals rent bedrooms within that unit. So something similar to what you've said, not on a large scale, but sort of individual projects. I also know the county has a program similar for seniors right now that they're running, but it could be, explored to be taken at a larger level.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I guess my direction to city staff is to, connect with AARP, Sacramento State, UC Davis, and start having conversations with seniors. I think it's a great opportunity and can be very cost effective, and we can house young people with people that need a companion in the house. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll kind of wrap it up here, and I'll answer your question, so I'm not getting distracted here, but I'm researching your idea. And there's a website or program called Nesterly, so kind of like an app where you can do just this. There's a program in Napa County, which is partially supported by the county, and there are a couple other programs, Front Porch Home Match, so there are examples. I do know that there are college communities that have an issue with young people finding housing and neighborhoods nearby, that they actually have programs that do just this. But I guess the bigger picture is we've tried everything, and I'll applaud the city of Sacramento. When I talked to the housing director for California, like, man, you guys stepped it up. There's lawmakers, and Roger will allude to this, that had a difficult time over the years voting for all of these reforms. They thought, if we vote for this, we're going to lose our re-elections, mainly in Southern California cities who are adverse to these changes. But every law that was proposed that I voted on, city of Sacramento had already stepped up and done this. So we have led in this. We're a pro-housing city. That's the great news. The bad news, as Councilmember Dickinson alluded to, is we still have a long way to go. I mean, I look here, not to be political, but the guy running for governor, the mayor of San Jose, is talking about how amazing their city is building housing. Well, if you look at our stats, we're 3 times better. So we're doing a great job compared to other cities throughout California, but we're still a third as far as reaching our RHNA goals. So, we're looking at surplus land. We're focusing on all these options. We're working to, streamline our processes for affordable housing, and there's no easy solution. But I know we need to put all these things on the table. ADUs versus cottages, all these type of ideas, lot splits. What are we missing? Like, what is the thing that I don't know if there's an easy answer, but we stepped up and made a lot of policy changes to, some would say marginal success, but I would say it's pretty successful compared to other jurisdictions, but we still haven't reached where we need to be. So what pieces do you think that we could focus on the most to increase our numbers in that chart?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mayor McCarty. I think there's a couple of other pieces that we could still advance. We are planning a workshop with the City Council on April 14th, where we'll be discussing potential changes to the misdemeanor housing ordinance and a workshop on SB 79 to look how we can further unlock the possibility of making housing even more affordable, lowering construction costs, removing any barriers. Additionally, as Councilmember Kaplan alluded to earlier, we're looking at the condo conversion ordinance later this year as something that we could do, and hopefully that will help as well. So over the years, the city has been a leader in housing. We have many of options, and we've tried, as you said, to bring as many of those options forward. And we'll see what we can do with continued zoning code changes, as well as our long-range plans. So as we do specific plans, area plans, trying to ensure that we're aligning land use, infrastructure, financing to make sure that we're removing any barriers to housing production there as well.
So as far as the zoning changes, I think we've addressed most of those issues. And we did talk earlier at the 2 o'clock meeting about this proposed change for ADUs in historic areas, materials and so forth, but that potentially could make the cost go up in those areas. Debated how many would actually fall in that. But what are we looking at in the building code side, not just the zoning, the building code side? I know much of something we've done has been for correct reasons and so forth, but we have such grand challenges that other jurisdictions are looking to do things differently. So what about that area?
I think a lot of that has to do with the state building code and, making changes to, the level of the number of units where the commercial code kicks in. That's a big topic right now. We have our missing middle interim ordinance in place, and we're seeing a lot of duplexes because once you get to 3 units, the commercial code kicks in and it increases the cost of construction. So other states have lowered that or increased that number to higher numbers of units. That would be one example. There are other state level changes that I think could make it easier and cheaper to build more housing, more missing middle housing under our codes. But I couldn't speak to our local building code.
How many how many ideas do we, there's a few, I think Councilmember Kaplan brought up this a couple of years ago. I've only been here a year, not that long, seems like 2 years, but about stairs in the 2-story, and like we used to have these requirements because fire suppression has changed dramatically. You know, people died a lot when you had to have more stairways in these. And so how many of these policies can be addressed by a city, or are we subject mainly to state? Here comes Mr. Pace, the final act.
Mayor McCarty, Tom Pace, Director of Community Development. We have very limited ability to address building code matters. The state is the lead. They mandate what the building code is for all jurisdictions throughout California. The legislature is looking at various reforms that could ease some of the restrictions that are in the building code for smaller multifamily developments that could help us achieve some of our goals that we're trying to facilitate on the zoning side very well. But the building code does impose significant costs and restrictions that make those less feasible and less attractive to developers due to the cost factors. But the city really has no ability to, to deviate or to lower or relax the building code standards.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I think most importantly, we're acknowledging it's an issue we're trying to address, housing and homelessness, and acknowledging that we need to keep working at it. So that's what we're here tonight. So thank you for this report. It's a mixed bag in here. We have some pieces of excitement in here. I know that the guy who comes here to testify every time during public comment about not enough housing for the homeless, I wish he was here to see this, because a few of those projects clearly were built and have units dedicated 100% for formerly homeless individuals. So with that, thank you for the presentation. No further questions or comments?
So Mayor, we now move to council comments, ideas, questions, AB 123 reports. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Yes, thank you. First, I want to thank, all of our city attorney staff and the work that they've done on the fuel network. It's set up a great resource for a lot of our immigrants, refugees, also our small business owners who are asking for advice on what to do on employee issues. But I want to put an event on folks' radar this Thursday, March 26, in partnership with Supervisor Phil Cerna. The Joe Cerna Junior Prize Endowment is generally offering to match a $1,000 grant, 1-for-1, with the Fuel Network to support their efforts. There'll be a panel discussion this Thursday at 5 p.m. at Casa de Español, and after that, a community celebration at 6 p.m. For those that want to learn more or participate or support this effort and take advantage of that 1-for-1, it could lead up to $2,000 in support for something that the city is doing, and this is Opening Doors, California Immigrant Project, NorCal Resist, all of which are partners of the Fuel Network. We encourage folks to come out on this Thursday, again, March 26th at Casa de Español on 1101 R Street at 5 p.m. for the discussion and 6 p.m. for the community celebration. So I want to thank my colleagues and their support also for their vote and commitment. Thank you, City Manager, again for looking at this program. But it's the Spring into Joy event. So come and join us again this Thursday, March 26th, 5 p.m. to support Opening Doors, California Immigrant Rights Project, and NorCal Resist. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. I could not let this go by, especially since we've celebrated football earlier on. Hail to the Lions. But you know what? This weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're going to have some of the best college women basketball players right here at Golden One Center.
Right.
For the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 for the women. For years, I had encouraged our sports commission to go past the first round. They always wanted to have the first and second round of the men here because it brought more teams and they thought more fans. And I always thought it would be great, and I still think it'd be great to have a Sweet 16 at least for the men. But the women beat us to it, and so we're going to have I think the great pleasure of enjoying some of the best college basketball you can possibly see. 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday, and the winners of the games on Friday and Saturday then play a game on Sunday and a game on Monday. So I'm sure there are probably still tickets available. I don't know that. I've got mine. I'll be there. And get a chance to see some great college basketball. So I encourage everyone to go. We support these kinds of events. Not only do you get the enjoyment of seeing, in this case, great basketball, but it helps our economy. It helps us for the future recruit these kinds of events and others to Sacramento. So it is the proverbial win-win-win.
Well said. Thank you. Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. Once you go to the basketball game and wherever else you're going, we want you to join us this Saturday, the 28th of March, from 10 to noon for the family-friendly annual event at Rivers Edge Church on Riverside Boulevard in District 7. Now, you might want to know what that is. There's going to be games, bounce houses, treats, and an unforgettable egg hunt, one that you'll remember for the rest of your life. There's a helicopter that's coming in, and it's going to drop thousands of candy-filled eggs overhead, and the kids will run to fill their baskets up. They got to bring the basket, but they'll run to fill them up. And there's no limit to how many you can get. As many as you can get in your basket, then you take them all with you. The event is completely free. It's open to everyone in the Sacramento area. There's no tickets required, no registration required. Just show up, bring your smile and your basket, and get ready for some high-flying fun.
Okay, well said. Wow, got some fans back there.
Yeah.
Councilmember Vane, can you top that?
Probably not.
Okay.
But maybe I could be equal to it. But first, let me just say, we actually do not have council meetings the next 2 weeks. And so a few of my announcement is for events that are a little bit out before our next meeting, which is 2 weeks out. But first, I just want to take a moment to thank our city departments and our city manager for coming out to our annual District 8 community conversation last Saturday. We had over 100 attendees. It was a packed house at the Pinnell Community Center. And so just a big shout out to Department of Public Works, YPC, DCR, Planning Code, SAC PD, SHRA, OIED, our housing policy manager, community engagement, and 311. And thank you to all the residents who came out to engage directly with us to strengthen our community. And also a special shout out to Alchemist CDC that joined us and presented on the Meadowview Farmers Market, which is in its third season at the Meadowview Light Rail Station. And so just a shout out to my entire team as well, because I know events like this doesn't happen overnight. It takes planning. I always say it's the team that makes the candidate. It is the team that makes the elected, and nothing gets done without them. So I want to give a shout out to my team for that. Some announcement on events happening in District 8 on Saturday, April 4th at Capital City Baptist Church in District 8. They're hosting their community Easter celebration from 10 to 2. This is a family-friendly event. It is free, games, craft, bunnies, all the fun and good stuff. So stop by. It is at 8050 Jacinto Road, and you can go to the Eventbrite page to RSVP. Just check out our social media to RSVP. And then on Saturday, April 11th from 9 to 12, the City of Sacramento Department of Public Works, YPC, is coordinating the city's Earth Day efforts. So join District 8's team to do some cleaning, the drainage basin at Delta Shores. You can learn more by going to thecityofsacramento.org/Earth Day. And those are all my updates. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the updates. And as you noted, we won't be back for 2 weeks. So next week is our spring recess. Also want to note that our city workers have a holiday. It's a noted holiday. And of course, there's been a lot of discussion about the name of that holiday going forward, as well as our local park. And we're taking these issues seriously under consideration going forward with a deliberate process. But we want to wish everybody a good Easter recess, spring recess. And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you.
So, Mayor, I have 9 speakers for matters not on the agenda. The first is Rosalie Lair, then John Jew, Jessica Porras, Rick Locke. Rosalie?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Rosie Lear. Hello to you people, and you too, Kevin, my favorite friend. Glad to see you. Okay, yesterday I went out to Roseville. I just wanted to see the lay of the land, and I got into a really good conversation with the guy that was at the guard station. He told me some really interesting facts, and I'm afraid of these facts coming true for the Arena and El Centro homeless shelter that you have planned. There is no security there, day or night. He said the gates provide plenty of security. Personal hygiene, I thought that we would see a centralized bathroom area, kitchen area, and shower area. But no, there is no kitchen at all. They have many porta potties, and a shower truck comes every now and again for the residents. I saw residents actually dipping into their own dumpsters while I was there. Not a pretty sight. I was told that the staff are the ones that clean each unit. The residents are not cleaning after themselves in the units. From the freeway, it looks like a big Monopoly game housing tract, if you ask me. The outside of the entrance, there are many tents, broken down campers, RVs, cars, people milling around doing God knows what. I just wanted to tell you, they're a magnet. Those places are a magnet.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is John Jew, then Jessica Porras.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, City Council. Rick Jennings. I'm a 40-year resident of District 7, and I come here to address two of our most major problems that we have in our communities today. And I'll keep an eye on the clock because I could talk on this for a long time. And what's happening here is that I'm a high-performance longevity energy coach. That's my moniker. I'm 76 years old. I've never felt better in my life. Roger, we had this discussion before about our age. And this is what we can do to put Sacramento on the map as a global city, a global place where good health is actually addressed. We have two big problems in our society today: the generational poor health, generational poverty. And anybody who wants to join a movement, it's a generational legacy. And I'm establishing it right now. I've got a big team. I put a lot of resources into this, and it's lifestyle medicine versus our broken healthcare system. Our systems are broken. They're costing us a lot of not only money, but it's costing us a lot of emotional health and emotional wealth and all those kind of things. And so what's happening here is especially our elders, they're going down a path that says, as I get older, and this is a very simple concept, as I get older, I'm only going to decline. I'm only going to get worse. I'm only going to feel worse as I age. I'm going to have more medications, chronic illnesses, pain and suffering. It's all about that. It doesn't have to be that way, and I have solutions to that, big-time solutions that can happen, and they're happening in other places, and I think Sacramento is a great place, farm to fork, the things that we have to offer. I'm giving a public, Rick knows about it, and I'd love him to share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Jessica Porras, Rick Locke, Lionel Berrigan. I don't see movement. Rick. Following Rick is Lionel Berrigan, then Celia Yanez.
The amazing Rick. Well, I think he's more amazing than this Rick, but we'll leave it at that. Anyway, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before I address why I am here, I formerly was a wish granter with Make-A-Wish. That was the most fulfilling civic activity I have ever undertaken. One of my kids was the 5,000th wish for the San Francisco Bay Area. I want to talk about one thing today: truth. I recently had to remove somebody from my life, someone I trusted. Why? Because they lied. And when confronted, they didn't correct it. They accused me of doing the very thing they were doing. And we all need to know, when someone makes that kind of accusation, it is usually says more about them than anyone else. Now bring that into this room. When we hear shifting explanations, incomplete disclosures, that's not clarity, that's a problem. And to the attorney advising this city, or attorneys advising this city, you are held to a higher standard. Under the State Bar of California rules, you are required to tell the truth, not mislead, not omit, and to correct anything that isn't accurate. That's the baseline. In this council, you are fiduciaries, held to a prudent person standard, to act with care, diligence, and honesty with public funds. So this is the simple. Anyway, tell the truth fully, clearly, without omission, because when the truth bends, truth breaks. Thank you.
Next speaker is Lionel Berrigan. Following Lionel is Celia, then Tyranny.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Leonel Barragan. I'm a longtime resident of Natomas. I'm here tonight to speak about the housing off of Arena Boulevard. I don't think it's a great idea putting this homeless encampment so close to schools, to the school. There's parks. There's other locations. I mean, you got power lines there. There's not going to be any water, any running water. What is it that these individuals are going to be using? They're going to be using the restrooms at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Are they going to get up, do walks? Some of them would have issues. I mean, you're literally putting boxes. That's what they are, boxes in this land of Natomas. There's other places where this homeless encampment can go. I just don't agree with this encampment here so close to the school. I walk with my kid, my family, and seeing this encampment, it's gonna go, this nice community we live in, it's just gonna go to thrash. So please, I really consider you guys thinking about a different place for this homeless encampment to protect our kids and our community. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Celia. Following Celia is Tyranny Bates.
Good evening again, Celia Iniguez, District 4. I am here representing the Merry Band. We are a small and diverse group of friends who have come together to enable free speech and to enable ordinary citizens at No Kings rallies and other protests. People have been protesting and they've been angry about the detrimental actions taken by the Trump administration, impacting us at the local community, the local level. At these protests, our fellow citizens wish to express their opposition to what the federal government has become. The Merry Band of Sign Makers provides materials for ordinary people to make signs, to freely express their opinions. The Merry Band has provided more than 2,000 posters at 3 large events and more than a dozen small actions. Tens of thousands of Sacramentans have come out to voice their opposition to the detrimental policies and the funding decisions of the federal government. We need leadership. We need civic leadership. We need your leadership. So we need your voice to defend our rights and our values. Some of you have been there, and we appreciate you and we see you. We want all of you to be there. We need all of you. So I'm here wearing this shirt. Hopefully you all know what this means. For those that don't, and for the public that is looking at this, I'm wearing this shirt to remind you that through executive orders, and in this case, Executive Order 9066, more than 120,000 people were imprisoned throughout this country in 1942. Of those people was my mother and her entire family. Executive order. So this is a very close and important piece for me. Very few people spoke out at that time, including elected officials.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Tyranny Bates, then Annabelle Gonzalez, then Rita Oden.
So my name's Tierney Bates. I was here a couple weeks ago. My kiddos waited 4 hours with me. This time only 3, so we're in a good spot. But just want to speak about the micro community again on Arena and El Centro. I know we've talked a lot of legal matters, and I know you guys have heard a lot of opinions, but it just hasn't gone away with the answers. The transparency isn't there. The project's not addressing any root causes. The timelines for members are not defined. Exit strategies are not defined. The city is not an expert in wraparound services that are going to be needed for these individuals. Right across the location is that Bel Air Shopping Center. A lot of the eateries that are there are individually owned, family owned. That's where people are going to start hanging out from that community, and those small businesses are going to go out the door, and they're going to be taken over either by vacancies. You know, it's not helping the economy. It's not helping any of the small business owners in the area. And I know there's other legal matters which we've identified and shared, but my kids have strong feelings. Sundance Lake Park is our neighborhood. What did you want to say? Go ahead. Please keep my community safe. You're going to say it.
Please keep my neighborhood safe, and please don't change it into a homeless camp, and please don't make us move all of our people in our neighborhood. Don't make us move somewhere else. Thank you.
So we just want you guys to look at the facts and the numbers and then make the decision that way.
I have 2 more speakers, Annabelle Gonzalez and then Rita Oden.
Is that 2 speakers announced?
Annabelle is our next speaker. After Annabelle is Rita.
Hi. Do I begin?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. When I was in my 20s, I had a dream to own a home in North Natomas, a place with beautiful parks, diversity, strong families, and a sense of pride. I am proud to say I live here now, and I truly love this community. But tonight, I have to ask, should I sell my house? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Annabelle Gonzalez. I am a single mom, 12-year homeowner, a 10-year business owner in North Natomas. Tonight, I am here regarding the proposed micro-housing community at 3511 Arena Boulevard. And I am respectfully asking this council to reconsider its location. This is personal to me. My daughter splits her time between 2 homes, District 3 with me and District 1 with her father. And no matter where she is, she cannot escape this. The proposed site is right across the street from where she sleeps in District 1. She will be able to see it from her bedroom window. This is not just a development on a map. It directly affects the daily life of a child I love. I also run a daycare in North Natomas, just 1,100 feet from the proposed site. I currently care for 14 children and have served over 100 families. My job is to protect these children and keep them safe, and I am here to be their voice because they cannot speak for themselves. This is their future, my future, our future. We are not opposed to helping people. We want to help, but placement matters. Timing matters. Please pause and reconsider. We are real people, and this is a real community. We are not an experiment. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Rita Oden is our final speaker this evening.
On my notice to the public agenda, it says I have up to 8 minutes. I'd like to take close to up to 8 minutes. I can read it for you if anybody is questioning that.
2 minutes.
I'm sorry? It clearly states, during the meeting, we'll have 2 minutes per speaker for consent calendar items, public hearing items, discussion calendar items, and matters not on the agenda for a maximum total of 8 minutes per speaker per meeting.
Yeah, for each of those items, you can speak for 2 minutes. So this
Can I
is-
have the start over then?
Yeah, we'll let you start over, but it's 2
So
minutes.
you're not going to allow the 8 minutes printed on the agenda, notice to the public?
No, I think you misread that. You get 2
Okay,
minutes.
real quickly.
We'll start from scratch. So you get 2 starting whenever you start to speak.
I wanted to address the things you were talking about housing earlier with all your graphs. You had one on there that said District 4, L and N Street bikeways, District 4, and sidewalk repairs. The status was building permit. That was just one of many odd things I found about all those graphs. I wanted to move on to violations, all under the streets and buildings. There are so many violations on the streets and buildings right now. I have all kinds of documentation. I have written, called, and emailed the appropriate people, including City Council, and I have received no response in the last 3 months. I went to the building inspection and permit. They were closed at 4:15. I have tried to talk to CADA. They close at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. I'd also like to discuss the Downtown Partnership is giving out 2024 fiscal information to the public. QRs and Zoom addresses are complete bogus on most city and state as well, but all city things I have QR scanned, and I have went to Zoom addresses for the meetings that were not clearly posted legally, are all bogus. The 2 p.m. City Council meeting earlier today was not notified publicly in the appropriate manner that it takes to notify the public for that meeting to occur at a change of time. The building and inspection that I have reviewed is completely, I'm talking buildings that are state, buildings that are city, buildings that are state and city like CADA overseas. Angela Ashbury, I believe, who's supposed to be Senate, she's a few doors down from the CADA building. I've never heard of her, but you might want to check into that. I would like to...
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Mayor, you have no more business to come before the city.
Thank you.
Thank you for this mockness.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes public comment. With that, we are adjourned.